dude.
I have this funny feeling that the audio is going to be like, even if I discreetly tell it, focus on the one that's better, when I'm editing, there's going to be like these weird, we can just hear ourselves murmuring in the background.
Yeah, I wonder how the echo's going to play, right?
I have no idea, right? None. I mean, there's even like a possibility that this shit's unusable because I decided not to test it. And I had the time.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, I will. I'll set this up. I'm gonna put a 360 mic in the middle. I'm gonna go down to Fry's Electrics,
Get a lavalier.
buy just a camera that automatically pivots like they have at work conference meetings to who is speaking. This will be great. So how far away are we?
From where?
No, each other.
Oh,
right?
I'd say about 8 feet.
8 feet?
8 to 10? 8 to 10, yeah.
Do we need a mask?
I don't think
Do you
so.
want a mask?
No.
I've got masks.
Yeah. Do you want us to put masks on?
I don't know, we'll just test the audio and see how it works with the mask on.
Yeah, I think we should try.
Well, you just don't know, like are we being responsible enough, So,
Yeah.
if I strap it, like, how's that sound?
Yeah.
Good?
Oh, it sounds great. I think,
Well, looks good.
yeah. We don't need to hear you anyway.
That
Why do you have a gas mask?
was left at my house at a party in 2000.
So a party goer brought it.
Crust Punk House threw a Neil Gaiman's Sandman Dream themed birthday party for me. And so I guess it was 2001. And turned 21 and shit ton of people showed up, some dressed in characters from the comic series, a couple people naked because they're dreaming. This is a dream themed thing.
So they were naked at your party?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Boys, girls, both?
Yeah. I remember taking ecstasy and drinking a lot of ouzo, which it's not a pairing. Ecstasy, MDMA.
Right.
You don't have to call it Molly. Kids. Ecstasy means pure. You don't have to say Molly to mean pure.
Ecstasy, exactly.
Ecstasy. If you're thinking like, no, we just live in a corrupted world that doesn't actually mean pure, that means mixed with speed or mixed with heroin or whatever. Well, if it's mixed with speed, it's a speedy roll, and if it's mixed with heroin, it's a smacky roll. Like we already covered this vernacular. I don't want a new word for describing MDMA, but yeah, I took some. I remember having a really good time, and then cleaning up the next day. I found this gas mask. I think somebody wore this to the party and left it.
Don't ask questions.
Don't know. I've had it ever since.
Yeah.
I don't even know what military engagement it's from, or if it's just from an army and surplus
Yeah, or just some
store.
or just some kid that wanted to look cool in a gas mask, right?
It's hard not to look cool in a gas mask.
That's the problem, right?
Well, I mean, is that Eros and Thanos? Like, there's something sexy about death. Like, is a gas mask as sexy as a cigarette?
I don't know, but there's like a whole subculture of like girls who dress up in gas masks. You can't even see their faces, right? But they're, everyone's got their kink, and gas masks, I guess, are probably one of them.
Well, okay, well, that's too happy. So
Yeah.
that's not what I wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear what makes you really, really angry, and I want you to get angry about it. And not in like a pseudo, like, I'm mad about the way people tweet. Like, I really want... Okay, the only time I've ever seen you be visibly full of ire is when somebody, like, you're coming to the defense of someone.
Right.
Someone has insulted your family. Or your friends. I mean, you are a fierce defender.
I am.
Now, I'm a defender in my own way, but a lot of other stuff makes me really, really angry and volatile, and like we hide. You see people first thought episode 0 was going to be author interviews, and so they want to.
Who cares about that?
Let's talk about our spiel.
Yeah, exactly.
And you watch stuff. I mean, you see almost all of the born in podcasting crowd miming NPR, miming
fresh air,
miming things that like really made it, and conventional like Tonight shows, like they want to, and they're doing a very good job. But people don't go on to those shows
to vent
and say, this fucking sucks. And when people do, like, oh, can you believe that person's so arrogant? They have all this money. How dare they use the award show to bring us down and talk about war and decline that award? It's a great honor. Okay, so those outliers, the brandos,
right?
People act like, well, they shouldn't have. They're putting on airs by not graciously being the gods we want them to be.
Right.
And they do it in these like homegrown videos too, these YouTube videos. You very rarely see somebody legit pissed. And I know you're a man capable of great anger, and we got to talk about it. Even if it's whatever. Like what makes you mad, man?
Yeah, I think one thing that bothers me, and when I do show my anger, it typically is either in
terrifying because you're 6'7".
Everyone's kind of like, oh, you're such a nice guy, you're very amicable, and that sort of thing. But honestly, I have anger, just like every other human being does. And what gets me a lot, especially on social media and in dealing with creative people, and I think it takes a lot of courage and bravery to put yourself out there, right? And to put yourself into the sphere of public space and present your vulnerabilities and putting yourself out there. And I get really pissed off when people start talking shit about that, or in the case of a lot of female friends that I have, and my thoughts on this, and I'll go into them, but it just seems like every time a girl shares anything about their lives on social media, especially, it's just a fucking dumpster fire of assholes, not only being rude or fucking just complete creepers about it. They act very entitled.
Dude, low-level orbiting white knight, Chad. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No. Human decency toward your friends, your friends who are women.
I don't. Yeah. I just do not get the mindset, because I'm not, and I'm a guy, right? I have genitals, I have feelings and attractions like every other guy does. I've never ever felt the need to be like, show me your tits, thanks for showing me that picture, or just all of a sudden jumping into somebody's DMs. And it bothers me. I have a lot of female friends who are artists, and they share with me their DMs in confidence to just and I don't call a lot of these assholes out, and I do though sometimes, and you've seen it when I do. I like to slit throats publicly of assholes, and it's one of the I take it as just what I like to do. It helps me have catharsis, and I'm not virtue signaling, and I'm not trying to be whatever. I'm trying to be a voice there from the other side of the aisle, so to speak, and saying, no, this isn't right. How this person is being treated is not right. What gives you the right to say, hey, I'm going to jump into someone's DM and be all, I'm really into writing and into your books, and show me your tits. And that's just, to me, a non-starter. I have a daughter. I grew up with a sister. Misogyny.
You don't even have to posit it into any kind of possible form of how do you ground a belief that people don't deserve to be mistreated.
No.
Well, I know a human, and I don't like it when that human I love. I mean, that extrapolation of like empathy and humanity. Yeah, but fucking misogyny, predators, monsters. Like what?
I don't get it, especially people that are quote unquote career creators or career authors or career this and that. I mean, there's not a faster way to destroy your career than going into someone's private space and saying horrible things that weren't invited. Now, guys, consensual flirting, Twitter crushes, what the fuck ever. Who cares? I'm talking about people that...
No, you know where the line is.
Yeah, I know where the line is, and I know I've seen the line, and I've seen people cross the line, and I don't like to let that fly by.
Okay, so that's positions of power within the art world, the literary world, the poem world.
Yeah.
The fucking scum. So you talk about career death, maybe this is part of mine. Like, poetry world, you have a fucking problem.
Big time.
The Me Too reckoning was not really enough of a reckoning in any of the other industries where, oh gee, I guess we should take this seriously. You have a few actors who will support it who are men, so, well, if Mike Ruffalo says it's bad, we ought to get behind Captain America too, it's not enough. But the poetry world, it seems entirely consistent. If you get to know a man in poetry academia or poetry, serious world poetry, he's a fucking scumbag. He is telling women whose poetry is good, it's really great, and maybe it is really great, and he's absolutely manipulating them, and I have no idea. You knew, I think people knew when they were getting into cock rock, you're going to join a band that's going to be the next Poison.
Right.
You're at that particular moment in the
cock piece
80s.
on.
You know.
Yeah.
We're doing this because we're going to fuck the shit out of all of our fans.
Groupies, baby.
Because that scene had that about it. For some reason, I think begrudgingly, they just like a little bit more open-faced than the poetry world, where it's so insincere. Because the guys don't say, "Hey, I'm sleazy. I'm Ender Dice Clay. I just want to fuck you." Instead, they're like,
"Hickory dickory
I
dock.
want to care about your feelings, and your verse really speaks to me.
Yeah.
And over time, I'll worm my way into your life and fuck with you."
Yeah.
And it's not even,
Poetry.
"Hey, show your tits. Hey, I'm a him bro, and I just want to get my dick wet." It's not just so straightforward. They are insidious in the whole of it.
Yeah.
Haven't seen a cis man, straight or not, who isn't a predator within the poetry world.
Yeah.
Maybe you've not been discovered. Or wait, you say, well, not me, not all men. Well, are you successful as a poet? No. Well, give it time then, you motherfucker. Power corrupts. You put a man in charge of a cult, he's gonna eventually start, fucking everybody.
All roads lead to a sex cult, and that's...
And a sex cult is a death cult, because that's Eros and Thanos right back to the circle.
Right.
But that's... And you know what? Me Too hasn't happened for rock stars either yet.
No.
So we want to talk about that, and now we start to see, Brian Warner get some shit for being shitty. And I've always, any performance artist whose kabuki is that they're a badass at doing tough things.
Right.
It's like eventually the escalation is
You have to...
that you murder people and rape people, because you're
in a character mode all
You're
the
in
time.
a character mode, and your character is spooky. But if your spookiness is, I look spooky, eventually your fans are like, but don't you even do anything?
Yeah.
And it just seems so dumb
Yeah.
and such an unhealthy place. Like, I can't remember the name of the phenomena where an undercover agent will forget and subsume into their character, because by pretending to be it, you become it.
Right.
Because our personas are pretend. If there's a core self somewhere inside, I don't know, because the rest of it's pretend, because I know it can change by pretending to be something else.
Yeah, and there's certain things you'll never want to share.
But rock stars, despite the handful of lawsuits here and there, they haven't. And part of it is shame and embarrassment, and part of it's there's probably video and photographic evidence, and some people don't really want to bring that up. And I think the rock stars and then the judiciary and juries are like, yeah, but it was yeah, she was young, but this was a big star. This was a magical moment.
It was a magical moment.
It doesn't fucking change anything.
No. Well, it's the power that guys use to hide behind to do it. And, going back to the poetry moment, I think that in the poetry world, what's most nefarious about poetry and quote unquote using poetry to get somebody to get on Snapchat and get jiggy with you is the fact that poetry in itself is a form of vulnerability and expression, right? When people are poets and they're doing poems and writing poems, they're talking about their deepest, innermost feelings, their gut, their soul bared on tape. It's a real easy way for a guy just to show up and be like, I saw your poem, you're heartbroken. I'll be your savior, or I'll be this and that, and I'll be this and that. Where, they're using the position of not only the art to be an access point.
Oh, and they're going to open the doors for you.
Yeah, open the door. Yeah, that's a whole difference. Power structure again. That kind of going to the rock star thing. It's weird to me. I don't know what the right answer is to. You look at some of these hair band guys. You look at the '90s band guys. These guys were all brought up in a certain environment. I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it. And it's hard in this day and age knowing what we know now and knowing. We moved beyond that phase in our art and culture to where, maybe banging all of your groupies isn't the best thing for a modern day rock star to be engaged in. Right?
You know what? So many of them said shit like this cliche. I got into music so that I could hook up with girls.
Yeah.
Hook up with women.
Right. In high school.
But really, if you read between the lines that kind of split up what's happening in that sentence, I think they're saying, I got into the arts to get revenge on women who wouldn't fuck me before.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them say that. Yeah.
So getting access to, I think in their minds, getting access to get is actually to get revenge on. And
which is a form of
that's what connects the mistreatment to the sex. It's not just sex. It's not sex at all.
And I would also say that there's a difference between having consensual sense with a groupie and R. Kelly style teenager grooming. There's with the Manson stuff. I don't know what's true or not true about it, but there's a lot of allegations of grooming behavior of that kind of stuff, and that to me plants the intention of being nefarious. If you're grooming somebody for something, you're preparing yourself to do some bad shit. And
so what else makes you mad, man? Tell me another thing.
What makes me mad?
Don't tell me a fucking peeve.
No, I think what also makes me mad is, and this is maybe lame, but it makes me mad when I see super talented people not getting the credit they deserve and having to resort to either complete breakdown over it or trying to be something they're not to achieve what they think their goal is, right? And I'm mad at them. That's not my anger. I'm mad at our culture. I'm mad that talented people aren't made, aren't put on. I don't want to say pedestals. That sounds lame. But they aren't elevated for their talents as much as they are other things. Are you a talented person, or are you a talented person that has to also have a persona on Twitter and has to do 10 other things on the side and has to, run a complete racket to get noticed in our busy world? And if you like art and you like artists, it's a bad place for the artist to be because you can't create as much as you want to because you're busy worrying about what the next Instagram post is going to look like. And
so, who are you angry at in that sentiment of being angry about this?
Oh God, fuck. I'm angry at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Feel angry and say something in an angry tone. I want to say it again. I'm fucking pissed that, you don't have to use those words, but let me know, and then we can unpack where. Like who's really pissing you off about this? Because that sounds like very calm. I believe it's true.
Again, it's like
connect with the feeling.
yeah. You're asking a guy who has a hard time with his emotions to connect with a feeling.
Do you need to hold a hammer?
Yeah,
right up there.
Yeah.
Just right up on the magnet strip.
I think
grab the hammer for the love of God. It'll help.
Grab the hammer.
Yeah, it's up on the magnet strip up there. Just pull. There you go. Okay, now with your Nordic hammer wielding past,
yes.
Tell me what's making you mad here.
Listen, people. Creative people need to be valued for their creativity and their output and their work. Don't make them jump through hoops to get known. If you like them, support them.
That's pretty good.
I don't know, man. I'm having
holding a hammer helps,
It does, but I'm like, I'm typically when I'm mad, no one will really see me be mad because it's like it's one of those things where I don't wear my shit on my. This is part of the way I grew up, right? Where I was trained never to, show your true emotions about shit, and it's something I struggle with, and I'm getting better at it, but. He's sitting in Micah's headquarters here with a hammer.
This is primal therapy.
Yeah. It is. So I don't know, man. Like a lot of things make me mad. A lot of things piss me off. Although I gotta say, Micah, I'm always saying guys because I think I'm talking to a mass audience. I'm talking to Micah.
No, we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do feel better these days, and that's a weird place for me the last few months of
when Trump left, and then there was fewer people losing lives in the transfer of presidential power than it could have been. I'm not saying it was easy, but there was an inchoate cloud that's just kind of like said a little bit sky's higher and a little bit less dense. And every other fucking thing that otherwise would have set me on edge, like what? Like, I don't know. I'm out of cream cheese! God, Barry toasted the bagel, fuck! Now I'm like, I'll put butter on it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It just like lessened the burden for sure for me.
Well, it was a visible weight. I mean, in 2016, when it happened, not even to get into politics, but when that happened, I went to a very just shocked place, and I could not allow myself to really feel much of it because there was just too much bad news all over the place. I mean, a person would just be crushed by all of the bad news and all, owning the libs. Yeah, you're owning me every day. Great. I feel like shit. Thank you. America. And I just could not put myself emotionally to be connected to the results. So I went into a very, very drab, dreary, dark, desolate, lonely place. But also that's where I create from. So,
what was giving you solace during those times? Like, what were you turning to?
Mostly fiction. I'm sorry, exercise. That was a good.
Is that when you really started getting back in?
Yes.
Is that when you built your gym and started like actually lifting again?
Yes, I went from.
Because I can tell, like, you were an athletic person previously in your life. At some point.
At some point.
I mean,
I spent a good portion of my 30s just being a complete asshole, just completely just out drinking all the time and not healthy, and same thing with.
But structurally, you kind of got like a certain baseline of fitness,
right?
But I would have had no idea that you would really kind of recently, 2016, just started.
Yeah, I mean,
building back up.
My life completely shifted on 2016, and there was a certain complacency that broke. There was a frustration, the Obama years. I mean, I was just fucking around, right? And then Trump got elected, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta live like every day is my last now. Which, and me and my buddy, who's my workout partner and my best friend, we talk about it all the time. As much as we hated it, it was a boon to us because it made us want to be better. It made me say, what, fuck it, I'm going to become a writer. And it made me say, oh, fuck it, I'm going to clean up my life. Because I can't live in this world, with this madness. I'm either going to do what I want to do and go down in flames, or I'm not. And I'm going to just drink myself to death and just be a miserable asshole and take it out on my kids. And that's just not a route that I let myself go in. So I, again, compartmentalized a lot of myself, which isn't healthy, and I'm not, but it's what I had to do over the last few years. I had to put myself in a box, lock myself away, and express myself through my work, which is why a lot of the times when people read my stuff and they look at me and they're like, what, huh? What happened? You're not sadistic asshole like you pretend to be. And I'm like, well, that's where I put my anxiety. That is where I put my rage and my hatred, because I'm not going to take it out on my kids. I'm not going to kick my dog. I'm not going to do what my dad did to me. I'm going to do different.
What's like an average lifespan of like men in your family, like kind of maternal, paternal, like what?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say like 80, mid 80s. Yeah.
That's like, and what do they usually? Is something suffer from chronically, or
yeah, and
or just at 80, it just could be anything.
Yeah, well, one of my big fear, and it's been with my grandparents, both my grandfathers on my side and ones in my family, is dementia, Alzheimer's. That's kind of my always big fear. And my doctor told me a really fucked up joke one time, and I kind of looked at him like, dude, you're not helping. But he was like, he's like, what are you afraid of? And I'm like, I'm afraid of getting Alzheimer's. And he's like, well, you won't care if you got it. You won't remember anyway. And I'm like,
well, it's about like, I don't want to bring that kind of suffering to my family.
That is the point. If I'm not here or here, then don't let me be here at all.
So there's a new film written and directed by Viggo Mortensen about a man who's going through dementia. And I caught an interview on it, and I can't recall the name of the film. But I believe the star is Lance Hendrickson, and I'll have to confirm that. But you know this character actor from a lot of horror movies, right?
Give me an example.
Near Dark, he's the lead vampire.
Oh yeah, okay.
Pumpkinhead, I think, just like a lot of stuff. Great guy, great actor, but this is supposed to be like one of those career
defining moments.
Just the moment where he's breathing such life into this. And so in the interview with Viggo Mortensen, the interviewer is gushing. You write, you direct. I understand you composed the music score for this film too, and you write poems and you paint and you live off the earth and you help people cross the road.
Right.
And I think the interviewer, who was doing a great job, but it would probably be really hard not to gush with Aragorn, right? I mean, he's just so cool.
Yeah.
And so handsome.
Viggo. He's got the dimple.
But they said something to the effect of, how does it feel to be good at so many different things?
Yeah.
And his response, I so admire. He said, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy telling stories.
Yep.
And all of these parts, these shapes of doing it, sometimes they're together, sometimes they're independent, but it's all storytelling.
Exactly.
There's different crafts, but that's what I care about. So I don't really know what you're saying. You're sweet. And he said it in such a generous way, whereas I probably would have been such a fucking dick.
Dropping F-bombs and yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Get a hammer.
I probably would have done something probably dickish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have no idea how much this kind of way of talking with people has lightened up. When I was younger, you meet somebody at a party, and I was like a TV evangelist, standing on the coffee table while everybody's completely fucked up, and I'm just getting intense and just didn't pick on you. Yeah. What are you about? Yeah. And then if they quit, just couldn't spit it out. And then you're about nothing. Yeah. You could die right now. Yeah. You could die right now. You just got so fucking intense on them.
And meanwhile, everyone's leaving that party in tears.
Yeah, and I should have been considered what a fucking prick. Yeah. But there was something that I probably don't even know how to include in retelling at the end of the things, everyone's has a pleasurable memory of me.
It's funny.
But when I remember shit like that, I just go, oh, God, But he's my friend. Why did I possibly say go pick up a hammer and do some acting? I didn't tell you have to be an actor for this.
No.
Like, I'll feel weird about it later, but when I'm in the moment.
What I love about Micah, and it's one of those things I
Hold on. I'm gonna refill my drink.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. I'm not gonna
Okay.
edit or watch this part. So
Right,
this
right.
could be selling something or talking shit about
You want to
me. It
refill?
doesn't
You
matter.
want to refill mine?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
But don't make it dead air. You gotta keep talking.
No, I'm gonna tell the audience what I love about Micah, and why I think Micah is a very misunderstood entity. Micah is somebody who wants you always to be better, and he's one of these guys that will force you. He's the guy that's on the coffee table that says, "Yes, what are you about?" And he's not doing it to be a dick about it, like he said, or overly aggressive. He's doing it because he wants you to think in terms of what are you doing to be better, because he cares. Micah is one of these guys that was one of the first people that ever talked to me when I came onto the scene. He's been nothing but kind. I mean, the guy helps me do everything. I mean, he's like, here's art, he did the cover art of my book for Pete's sake, and I take a lot of pride in that cover because it's a group environment. So he's coming now. I'm not gonna gush too much more.
Wait,
but
did you say I'm coming hard?
yeah, he's coming hard.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he just wants you to be the best person, artist, creator that you can be, and the type of aggressiveness that is often misconstrued as being hatred or being whatever. It's not that. It's because he wants you to be better than you're being.
Misconstrued.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's times when Micah goes straight out, dickhead on somebody, but that's to be different than he's on the coffee table asking you what you're all about because he wants you to think about things like that because he's a deeper
It's
person.
so embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing. It's so terrible. The shit I've said and gotten away with. And,
I just noticed sometimes on Twitter or whatever you'll have a rant and people will be like, oh my god, I'm like, don't you see what he's trying to say here? It's like it's just it baffles me the amount of generosity and actual kindness and caring behind the exterior of the way words come out.
I think anybody who comes across as harsh, overbearing, insensitive, stepping on people, especially those among us, including myself, who will put on affectations of either toughness, rawness, grittiness.
Yeah.
The strong don't have to signal that they're strong.
Exactly.
You don't?
No.
Everybody knows they're strong. Anybody that's broadcasting, I'm really strong!
Yeah.
You're insecure.
Yeah.
Nobody that's strong needs to do that.
Yeah, well, it's a giveaway.
Yeah, right.
What is your fundamental flaw? And it's it's a thing that you're trying really, really, really hard to project, where you would project it if you didn't try hard.
Fundamental flaws, we've got so many of them.
Yeah.
See, I mean, that's the thing that makes me angriest, right? The world is the world.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
And I get furious at it. I mean, there's days when I'm seething in anger.
Yep.
The family separation at the U.S. southern border
Oh god. Yeah.
fucked me up so bad.
Kids in cages, right? I mean, hello.
I was never in a
Yeah.
government-sponsored cage.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of separations and traumas as a kid, and I know what it's like to be in parts of the system that ostensibly are there for your benefit and do nothing or work to your detriment. Forget mine being triggered.
Yeah.
The lifetime consequences. It doesn't matter what you do now. You could say, well, not only were you reunited, but your family was given a check for this much money. There's no amount of money.
Yeah, right?
Not saying that they haven't, but they should totally be fucking doing that.
Absolutely.
Because it's not worth nothing. You should definitely do that compensation, but...
Yeah, and make American citizens and say, you're in.
Oh,
Sorry,
immediate.
Immediately.
Yeah, you get a couple get out of jail free cards off of that as well.
Yeah.
And so do your descendants, because
Yeah.
what they've done is so horrible.
Yeah.
There's lifetime
Exactly.
physiological, neurological effects where some of these traumas, when at that degree inflicted when you're this young, generationally,
Yep.
will not just mess you up, it mean that you won't be able to experience what the feeling of feeling happy or feeling like at home in your skin or normal for any moment. You'll be messed up your whole life. You'll fuck up your kid's life, and like, you've instituted a generational injury.
Yes.
Now, that's not saying people won't be tremendous use cases where they actually, through the strength of their character and their community, like do amazing things, for sure. But we've seen this before. The disruptions of family units, familial ties, and being able to have a continuity of security, love, and tempered existence by the government. Well, you know, there was the fucking slave trade that broke the continuity.
Yep.
There was centuries of
Native
war
Americans.
against,
Yeah.
well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
homosexuality and,
Yeah.
and queerness in all its forms.
Yeah.
You know, where our legacy of narratives and family ties, and yes, even ancestors. Where is our lineage past a certain point? You can make these weird anecdotal, like, well, you know, in ancient Greek society, it's like, you don't have to go that far back. But yeah, they broke it. They took it away. Yeah, Native community, I mean, there's a lot of this, through the abuse, multi-generational, hits the next layer and the next layer.
Yeah.
And these chains that
Yeah.
bind, they're really horrible. So what we saw on the news about this, if I was, you know, say just toasted to the point where I'm not really thinking like highbrow thoughts and I'm
Yeah.
like laying in bed trying to sleep,
Let that gummy kick in.
letting that gummy kick in,
Think
I'd be
about-
like, what if somebody
Yeah.
woke up with, you know, just one of those kind of like goodbye, wake up to spider. They just wake up and they got this like badass, the first superpower in this reality, the first one, and they just fucking go through and, you know,
Clean it up.
liberate. Well, not even like totalitarian, not even like. So if I was like awake, I'd be like, this would be a skeptical view of powers. No. And I'm falling asleep. I'm like really thinking like, what if there was just a really cool Chicano, indigenous, Afro, Latino, the Latinx, Latinx hero that just goes through the bow, and it's just like so like revenge fantasy of like the little kid me.
Yeah, well, you kind of do that in your books. I mean, with Cass and abuse to me is not patriotism, and I think that what we witnessed, like you said, I mean, the Trump years, and dude, there was a ton to be fucking pissed off about. But like you, I think the Kids in Cages was a pivotal moment where it was one of the first times that I felt sick to my stomach to be an American. Okay, because they were doing this in my name, and I'm like, I don't want it. But we, as citizens, we don't have the option to just bow out and say I am succeeding from that. Seceding. We're part of this country,
And it lacks the total. Okay, this is gonna sound so gross. Many Americans could swallow the crimes to the cradle of civilization regions of the world because there was an antipathy towards Islam, an antipathy towards
there's always the other
that part of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really strong, and you could play these currents because somewhere in a comically disproportionate ratio, there was a militant force that said, fuck the U.S., whereas, like, you have, I don't know, there's probably, like, 3 times as many people into rock music and punk and counterculture who are giving a middle finger saying, fuck the U.S., burn the U.S., than there ever were actively, effectively militarized people of that region, because I don't even want to say Muslim, because the Muslim world, because what was looped out in, the 9/11, thing,
No, it was a strong.
people around who were east of, the Euphrates or something. It was like wow, just everybody, But anyway, there was a somewhere in the heart of it, there was an enemy, an opposition.
Always is.
You could say, you say there always is, but
Well, I'm saying, as far as the propaganda goes,
well,
there's always the other.
there typically is.
Yeah.
Somewhere in some portion.
Yeah.
But the
response.
U.S. southern border
Yeah.
couldn't manifest a fucking enemy.
No.
So.
Well, you remember the caravan.
The caravan.
The caravan's
which
coming.
that its worst threat was,
Yeah.
these people are
Trying to
in
get
need.
food.
These
They're
people are
trying to get
by
water.
our own laws able to ask for sanctuary on these purposes.
Yeah.
Even their, if we split stuff into there's the real story and then there's the good story, and for the Trump camp, this was the good story. It still undermines their own credibility by saying the caravan of the desperate and hungry. They never manifested, no matter how many times you would repeat.
No.
Thugs and rapists.
Yeah.
It's just it was a nothing story and just racism and
chiefs burning down our cities.
Wars.
Where?
Well, right. So they didn't even do a government ops program to pretend to be, America's terrorists.
Yeah.
They didn't even put in a false flag. They didn't put in a false flag. There was nothing except meaningless human torture, and this is
it's a big problem.
The worst.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk about what
these other sins. It's not a fucking contest. What Bush. All the United States, all presidents, and Obama, what they've done globally is, a war crime. Everybody knows this.
Right.
It's an unprosecuted war crime, but this is also really bad.
It's funny. It's it's not funny. It's just tragic. But I remember in 22nd term of Obama, I remember thinking Mitt Romney was going to be the end of the world if he got elected, right? Mm-hmm. I campaigned as hard as possible to stop Mitt Romney from getting in there, and then I got my medicine. I got my medicine with Trump. But what you want to talk about, what makes you mad about all this is the fact that I think that what makes me mad personally is the victimhood that a lot of privileged people and a lot of people prey on. Mm-hmm. With privileged people to make them feel like that they're losing things and they've lost nothing. Okay, they're never losing anything. They're completely, and this is the whole Trumpism in a nutshell. Nuthole, that works too. It is the idea that these unknown brown people or terrorists or gay people or whoever is coming to take my church away or my guns away, or this away, because all of these places tell me that's what's happening, and as I get indoctrinated in the stream of just needing to rage at something, I'll rage at that boogeyman. And what happens when we do that, guys, is kids get put in cages.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, given the ideological underpinnings.
Yeah.
So, what you've got is several, maybe 20,000 years of an ideology that any individual that can find themselves in power can use to mobilize and exploit others.
Exactly.
And it's really contagious. And almost all of it is built on the sense that you are
gonna lose something.
You're in a minority.
Yep.
And you're being persecuted.
Yep.
And you're chosen.
Yep.
That's...
Yeah, you're the right ones.
Bam!
Yeah, you're the right ones.
You're always in a mode of scarcity.
Yeah.
So no matter how rich and wealthy you are, no matter how much you have all the power and all the voting bloc, your ideology tells you
It's never enough.
they're trying to take it. They're trying to get me. So the United States, the great colonizer, direct descendant of another great colonizer. So let's just do it. U.S., England and Spain, Rome,
France. Yep.
Egypt.
Yeah.
And we can just follow the map of the Proto-Indo-European languages as they moved along, brought monotheism and brought totalitarian rule to about 20 to 30,000 years ago, Russian steppes. Picked it up from horse culture, of all fucking things. No, the unification of their belief system plus riding horses and the benefits it gave them to battle.
It's like Dothraki.
Well, yeah. So but imagine it just spread in a continuous way where everyone kept forgetting. No, we invented monotheism. It's like no, it's you're in a chain. We can track it because everybody else. Once you hit them, you broke them into being pretend monotheism by inventing other ways to like deify your spirits. But anyway.
I think it's one of those things where people.
But their belief system has always been persecuted. It's always a part of it.
There's a resting state,
no matter how wealthy you are.
In the United States, unfortunately, there's a resting state that a lot of people have, and that is to be in perpetuity of rage. And the people who are comfortable with themselves.
Well, what are Christmas movies about? Except for Die Hard.
Right.
Forget it. Yeah. What is it? What's happening in a Christmas movie?
I don't know, faithlessness?
Someone's trying to steal Christmas.
Yeah, the war on Christmas. Yep.
We have to save Santa. So and so, Scooby Doo saves Santa.
And Santa's white, by the way.
It's just a perpetual. Christmas is a dire risk.
Yeah.
Someone's going to take it away.
Yeah.
Every bit of ideology is this narrative of
they're coming to take your stuff.
They're getting it. They're getting it. You gotta get it back.
Yeah.
You don't have enough.
Yeah.
You have plenty. You absolutely have plenty.
And if you break out of that bubble, it is really frightening to watch people that are still in that bubble. And I think that is where we're at right now in our country, right? Because a lot of us are out of the bubble. We're not in the Trump ecosystem. They're coming to get our stuff. The brown people, the Muslims, the tree hugging, gun taking liberals, whatever. I wake up every day. I go to work. I do my stuff. I raise my family. There's no one taking anything from me. Okay, there's no one taking anything from Micah, as far as I know.
Well, capitalism is taking everything from you, including your health, and soul and wealth. Yeah. But yes, there is the manipulation by a net new interchangeable enemy du jour. Yeah, of course. These are all lies.
Throw a turban on it.
To scare somebody really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be able to fix things unless people like us who are outside of the bubble look at people that are in the bubble and just say, no, we're not having that discussion. There's no space lasers. And, even talking about the space lasers is a non-starter for me. And I don't know how else to do it, Mike. I honestly don't, because, giving anybody an inch of space in that realm leads to kids in cages.
Well, I guess my self-critique in the thing that makes me angry is how ineffectual me and my choices can be. And
you feel very small.
And how knowing about this greater shit.
Yep.
I was talking with Liz earlier today where I was like, I think I understand why the X, Y, and Z bothers me or whatever. And I'm like, but knowing why, I don't know how to fix it. I found a leak in the yard. It's this right here. This pipe is squirting water. Mystery solved.
Yeah.
Do you know how to close the pipe?
Right. Yeah. Right. I think there's two ways to look at it, right? There's the macro level, which most people operate at, and it's overwhelming. It's fucking impossible, right?
It is.
You cannot fix the macro, but what you can fix is what you do. Right?
Yeah,
and how
be the change. I mean,
yeah, you know,
you're such a
yeah, you know,
sweet meditative man.
I'm a very mindful man. Yeah, you should.
It's so true, though.
Yeah, it is. Well, I went through bouts of rage. I was doing all kinds of crazy shit in my younger days. Of just
Don't admit to any felonies. I hate editing stuff.
No felonies here. Although,
thank you.
Yeah. You know, no, but I mean, you know, I have been angry as hell and scratched at the walls and protests and, you know, to try to fix the great global problems of our world. And guess what? We as individuals can't put that burden on ourselves, or else we will go and fucking insane. And we'll have anxiety and we'll feel always a failure because the world is not operating in the way that we want it to be. But maybe our worlds on the micro are. And that to me is the goal. I mean, I can't change what's happening in Yemen, but I can change what happens in my house, you know, and the beliefs that my children have and how we treat people and neighbors and all that shit. But you know what I'm getting. I mean, it's.
Well, I do think you can expand outward, and it is just really so frustrating. Complicity in a system, existing within a system, the ability to even fight the system by being, I don't know, like you're saying, good to your family, good to your community, and seeing how does this kind of branch outward into the greater group. But you're still also, doesn't matter if you're vegan.
Right.
Every piece of everything around us is blood money.
Right.
Like every bit of the ground, every bit of the air, every iPhone, every light switch you flip on connects back to like the exploitation or terrible treatment of another person. But you opting out of it also doesn't reduce their exploitation. And you individually say, I'm going to storm their capital, doesn't reduce their exploitation.
Right.
So it's really, really hard, I think.
Oh, it's absolutely hard. And I think the answer to the question, if there is one that I know of, is to find, and this is going to sound lame and whatever, but it's to find your tribe, right? Find people that you connect with that have the similar beliefs so you can create a coalition.
Yeah.
And a coalition and numbers is how shit changes. It doesn't change any other way. So if you want to be a lone warrior fighting against the behemoth that is the United States government, good fucking luck. You know, however, if you're part of a movement or trying to find people that are like yourselves, you can create green shoots in your community, you can create green shoots in your life, you can do a lot of other stuff. And it's taking the time.
What's a green shoot?
A green shoot, like
I don't know.
Grass coming through the dirt, right? Green shoots, like there's growth.
Right.
Yeah. Well, shoot.
Really, like
badly.
Is that like a commonly known idiom?
Yeah, green shoots. Yeah, green shoots of success. You know, little small signs of progress.
I'm totally unfamiliar with that.
You know, so I look at my house and my environment that I create as green shoots. If I see things that I'm doing in my small space and time is making me happy, then there's success there. And if I find other people who think the same way and they're also having successes in their community or house, then I want to connect with them and we can combine our powers and rinse and repeat. Will it change the world? I don't fucking know. But what else can we do?
Chad. Writing is war. What does that mean?
Well, for me, writing is war has always been my struggle. I've wanted to be a writer since I was a child. I've been a storyteller since I was a child. I wanted to be a writer since my teens, and I fucked it all up. And I, got accepted to colleges that I failed out of, and programs that I blew, and just got into the whole scene of partying and fucking off, and getting back to me, writing to me is a war against my inner demons. It's a way that I find my true voice. It's a way that I express myself. It is not to say that writing is a brutal, bad, thing, or a lot of people are like, well, writing is joy. I'm like, great, that's what it is for you. Okay,
Yeah.
for me, writing is war because it's my therapy. It's how I deal with the world that I see as an artist. It's how I translate my work. It is who I am. It's always
Well, that's a great name.
Right.
I mean, that's a cool story, man. Writing is war. I think I thought you meant. I don't even know. I think I thought you meant something about.
like maybe protests, writing as protests.
No,
or something
no.
like that.
Well, yeah, like the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah, don't care.
We're using our words.
Yeah.
I don't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, for me as an artist, my studio name, Writing is War, is my war against myself and my own demons, and trying to uncover the prisoner, the princess in the castle, so to speak, which is my inner voice. It's who I am. It's what I want to share. It's the end of the rainbow. It's the prize at the end. And to do that, I have to fight a lot of battles with myself and with the work. And it's just, it's a bloodbath. So, but I think it's what also makes it special. So
That's poetry, man.
yeah,
That's a very good write-up of artist or writers. What are they about? Write that thesis right there.
Yeah.
And put it somewhere that you can find it. And for those
it's a good idea.
of the soul.
I get the question a lot. People are like, what the hell does that mean? And, writing is joy. Writing makes me happy. I'm like, great, guys. Great. I'm not happy. I'm having a war. But I love it because I'm trying to peel myself apart to the rawest form and find what it is I am to share. And that's going back to where it's a perfect segue to end the show, right? It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. What pisses me off is when people share themselves and they put themselves out there, and to be shit on, there's no bueno in my book.
It's so fucking uncalled for.
Yeah.
I feel like so many peeves, so many minor complaints people have are just this thing that would have embarrassed them, a thing that is perfectly reasonable, but it's just picking on somebody that didn't know better.
Yeah. People make
I
mistakes.
see this shit where
I hate the
auto DM
Yeah.
with your book offer. It's like, okay, picture yourself at 50 and you have no idea how to work the kids' technology. You hire a 20-something consultant who says, well, you have to have a website, you have to have an Instagram,
Yeah.
future version, and you have to have a TikTok. And do you know what's the most successful marketing? Auto messaging. And so they sign up. They are not. Like, this will be an annoying thing that'll turn people off of my book.
Yeah.
And so when people are like, these dumb people are doing this thing, it's like, they're not. They're naive. Somebody told them to do it. Nobody that has ever done an auto DM of a book promotion.
Yeah.
Because they themselves knew that this is how to do it. Somebody said, you want to know how to get Twitter followers and you want to know how to make sales, this is what you do.
No.
I cannot be mean to somebody like that.
Right.
And if you're going out to be a dick, like, I'll show these squares who's tough. It's like, well, you've got such hell coming to you.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
It's not cool, and people make mistakes all the time. And that's the thing. Like I'll see, I don't know. It's a whole separate show we should do on cancel culture or whatever. But I struggle with it because people that are trying to catch up and be relevant with all of the changes that happen make mistakes. They say the wrong thing or the wrong pronoun or whatever, and I see so many people that just get destroyed because of it, even though they apologize and say, "I didn't know, I learned something."
No, you're totally right. I cannot even talk about any part of this.
Yeah.
Until we sign a new contract to discuss rates. After you clear it with your manager and your agent.
Yeah.
And then we work up a script because you're just throwing stuff that's off the cuff, and this is a huge topic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll have my people talk to you.
Yeah, call my people. Or we can just yell across the 8 feet.
I think it. Oh hi. I think the pizza might be here.
Yeah.
We gotta go check that out.
Yeah, we should go eat some food and drink more booze.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Chad recommends talking to all of you as if we're addressing a big audience. So thanks for tuning in.
Yep.
Please check out Writing is War at at Writing is War.
Yeah,
Don't forget to subscribe and definitely go pick up his debut novel, Ghost River. That's it.
Bye.
All right, thanks all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.